Hello everyone, welcome back to Motivation with me. Now, you all know by now who I am, so let us get started. So today we'll be doing Motivation and Love, Part 1. Now before we start, yesterday I spoke about a reflective story. Now that story had of a boy and his father, and how simple words of motivation and encouragement saw them both in the best of time and reunited once again. So, let us start with today's topic, Motivation and Love, Part 1. Now, why I say Part 1 is because I'm going to talk about two types of love. I'm going to be talking about the parental love, and in the second video, which I'll be doing tomorrow, I'll be talking about the romantic love. And I'm sure most of you will be looking forward to that, since we are all about romance as young teens. So first we're going to talk about the parental love and how motivation is an impact towards it. Now, when we talk about parental love, we all know in a general basis, in a general understanding, it's the love a child receives from his or her parents. Okay, so many of you will have different ways you can describe that love which has been displayed by your parents. How they've looked after you, protected you, brought you up, fed you, clothed you, given you the best education, and so on. Now for some kids, they will have those things, but they won't even understand or even recognize it to be love. Some kids will just identify them as duties to be performed by a parent. But I assure you, those are not just mere duties. Of course, everyone has a duty, everyone is entitled to do a responsibility. But it's not the same when it comes to a parent. See, a parent has much to give. A parent has much to sacrifice for your child. So, when the child is at a certain age, and when they understand that their parents give up a lot, then they can see how motivation is effective. Now see, for example, now let us take when you're like an adult. Now when you're an adult, you will have certain responsibilities. Some of you may be married, some of you may be mothers already or fathers already, or some of you are just either still studying or even working. Now when it comes to that point where you're either studying, working, or whether you're married or not, you will understand that giving up something you desire, giving up something that you love just for the sake of another person, how much your parents would have undergone. Now see, your parents have given up everything. If you think about it, okay, you have family trips, right? Some of you do, and some don't. To the people who don't have any family trips, think about those hardships. It's not that your parents didn't ever want to go on a family trip with you. It's not that. They just couldn't afford it. I mean, of course, they would have loved to go, right? I mean, who doesn't like to have a vacation? Who doesn't like to just sit back, relax, take a breath, take a comforting time, pamper yourselves? I mean, who wouldn't want that? That's like a luxurious life in its own way. So, your parents have not been able to give you that kind of life because they weren't able to afford it. Maybe they were able to afford it for themselves, but they're not selfish. Instead, they have used that time, that energy, where they wanted freedom, to give it to you guys. Now think about that. How much they have given up just to give you a life, to give you an education, to give you a position in where you are. Now, let me ask you this. When they had troubled times, when they had financial issues or problems within each other, who motivated them to keep going on? No one, right? It was motivation from inside. Motivation, understanding that I should do it for the sake of my family, for the sake of my kids, for the sake of their future. That's the drive that parents have. They are motivating themselves. That is really admirable, isn't it? So you can see how much your parents are willing to go over the line. They're willing to go over the moon even just to see you happy. And they do it alone. Okay, have you seen your parents go to counselors or to your relations or even to a random doctor and tell their problems? They don't. Unless it's physical issues, like if you have a stomachache or a cough or cold, yes, they'd go to a doctor. But how about mental problems, mentality problems, emotional problems? Do they go to anyone? They don't. They bear it all on their own because they know they cannot risk their troubles for your future. See, now mostly that is more of a maternal love, don't you think? A mother's love. I use the word maternal because maternal means mother. Paternal means father. So, a maternal love, your mother's love, is unconditional. Till the day you die, it's unconditional still. Look at this. When you've had problems in life, whether it's in school or at work, with your friends, with your colleagues, with your teachers or your boss or supervisor, whoever it may be, who is the first person you go to for encouragement, to have a shoulder to cry on or an ear to speak to, just to get motivated? Your mom. You go to your mother. So can you see how much your mother has been there, motivating you, pushing you to go forward? Or let's say you've come with a problem, my friend is bullying me or something. What will your mother say? She'll motivate you to be someone better than that bully. Hasn't she brought you up in that way? After all, we are, as kids, even I'm a child still, and I'm living with my mother and my father still. And I still go to my mother whenever I have a problem. Of course, I love her immensely. I'm sure you do too. Even sometimes when there's a problem that my mom and I find difficult to figure it out, we go to our father, my dad. So can you see, I and you and me, both of us, we have our parents to motivate us in times of dire trouble, dire situations which are causes so much of anxiety and stress and pressure on us. But who is there to motivate them in those times? I mean, sure, your parents are working, right? Maybe your mom may be a housewife, but she's still working at home, right? She's working at the house to make it clean, to make it feel like home. She gives you all well-cooked meals, warm, that motherly type of love. How is she able to project that when no one is motivating her? It's simply because of love. She loves her family, she loves her children immensely. That is why she doesn't hesitate to do what's best or to give the best for them. So that is how she motivates herself. She keeps thinking, remembering, I have to do this for the sake of my family, for the sake of my child, for the sake of my child's future. For my child to be happy in the future, I will do it. So she motivates herself from inside with those thoughts, with those actions. Even when she does an action towards you, it's a motivation to her. If she sees you smiling after having a good meal or having a good time with family and all that, it's motivation. She's encouraged to do, okay, I'm going to make it a point. I'm going to make sure my son or my daughter has that smile on their face. It doesn't get turned upside down. So that's what goes in their minds. They don't want anything to turn your smile upside down. They always want to see you smiling. Your mothers. After all, okay, let's take sports meet or contests or even prize givings or anything. Who is the first person who comes and sits there, who stands there, even have to stand outside the auditorium for you? Your mom. That kind of encouragement, that kind of motivation. And whenever you walk up on the stage or whenever you achieve something, think about the people who got you there. Don't think about how you got there. Think about the people who were your milestones, who were your rocks. After all, they were the ones who helped you come to that position. You were able to walk on a stage and receive a prize. You're able to get a job promotion at the company you work at. You're able to be happy, stress-free, not worry about anything just as yet. Because of whom? Your mom. She motivates you even though she has problems in her life. I mean, she's stuck with finance, with education, and trying to tax. Then she has to see tuition classes. It's too much, isn't it? And especially if it's a big family, she has to see to also nutrifying you all. It's too much, isn't it? But yet she motivates herself in the smallest way as possible. And that is always remembering who she's doing it for. I believe I told you before, be humble when you want to get motivated. And I've also mentioned that when you do something for someone, it doesn't benefit them, but it also brings about happiness in yourself. You feel happy. You feel benefited more than the person who has benefited from it. You are like more lucky than that person, because you have received a feeling which is not going to be ever felt again. You know that kind of happiness, that kind of sensational, that where you're satisfied. You're satisfied, you got it, you won. Like, it's not like just you won a trophy, but you won another person. You won in helping another person. Those are the greatest rewards than just what you get on stage. I mean, after all, those are just pieces of paper and pieces of glass or whatnot. The real rewards are your actions. The real rewards are the words you put out to another person. The real rewards are your behaviors on how you approach to another person. That person can be happy or he can be troubled. Still, motivation plays a big part in this. Motivation plays a big part in who you are, who you wish to be, and who you are growing up to be. So as you can see, these three things. That's how motivation plays a role. Motivation is like a teacher. We say in French, je ne sais quoi. That means you don't know what it is. You've not come to that point. And why do we say that phrase is because it's something you keep on learning. It changes every time for every different aspect in life. It changes for every situation in life. Remember the words, je ne sais quoi. What is it? Motivation is like that. It changes. It doesn't have to be only during times of trouble. Even during times of accomplishment or achievement, or even during times of happiness, it's still there. Motivation is like a trigger. It's like a button. You have to always keep pressing it. But apparently, and luckily, it won't break no matter how many times you press it. Unlike you keep pressing a button of an engine. It will definitely break then, wouldn't it? So, now we know what maternal love is. What about paternal love or father love? Now, when it comes to paternal love or fatherly love, I know it's hard. I mean, my dad also only has one day off. Comes home late in the night, and he's very tired, and I can't expect him to, hang around with me. I understand that, and I'm sure you do too, but there are some who don't. There are some who expect their dad to always be with them constantly 24/7. Maybe if you think about it, think deeply now as I keep telling you this. Your father doesn't have the time for you now. But can you remember your childhood? When you were a baby? Especially if you are a girl, I think you should remember this. I do. See, why do we forget when we're a young age? Of course, after all, we're small, we don't remember. But if you really focus, we can remember. Try to remember who was there. Always sleeping by your side. Always feeding you, pampering you, he would come home with some toy, a new toy or a new candy or a new chocolate, a new lollipop. Who did that? That was your dad, wasn't it? I mean, your mom had to stay home and look after you, but who came home in the evening and always gave you surprise 365 days until you like grew up? Who made you feel very special on your birthdays? To those young girls I talk to out there, I was just curious, have you ever worn your dad's t-shirts when you were small? I know I did. See, I wore them because whenever he went to work, I miss him so much that I would have the habit of wearing his shirts because it would feel like he was with me. Didn't you? I'm sure, okay, maybe not his shirt, but maybe you were playing with his shoes or his pens, weren't you? See, your dad didn't get angry with you when you did that. But when you grow up, yeah, he'll get angry, of course. You are mature right now, wouldn't you say? But when you were young, when you were just a baby, a toddler, who always carried you high into the air and threw you and caught you, making you feel safe, who's the one who gave you huge fun times, unforgettable fun times at a park or even at a playground? Who is it? It was your dad, right? See, we don't remember it much, but our dad was there for us too when we were young, because he was there teaching us how to grow up. He was there teaching us how to have fun with the little things. I mean, look at it. If we look at it life now, if we get something small, we would find that, unwanted. Like, we don't want it. We don't want something small. We want something big. But instead, our father was actually grooming us at a young age how to appreciate those small things. Even if it's a hug or a kiss, it's still small, right? I mean, you don't get a big pile of money, but you get happiness. You get an unconditional feeling, that same sensational feeling. Now, my question is, who motivated your father to do that? Who motivated your dad to always come home and surprise you with something new, and either new toy or candy? Who motivated your father to always give you those high throw-ups? He would throw you into the air. Who motivated him to do it? He didn't have anyone. Of course he had your mom, but I'm sure she must have been very scared when she saw your dad throw you into the air. No one motivated him. He did it himself. Same way and same reason why your mother does it for you. He just wants his child to be happy. See, to those who have daddy issues, as some would say, those are not forever. Because there'll come a time where you will understand how much your dad was your best friend and your mom was like your guardian angel guiding you. But your best friend was your dad. Even for guys. For young boys, it's definitely your dad. He's the one grooming you. He's the one telling you to be a man. It's not your mom. Your mom will always guide you. She's a guardian angel. Your dad is your best friend. So now, if you think about it, who motivated your dad? Same question. And same answer. No one. Just those simple thoughts. I want my child to be happy. I want my child to have the best. I want my child to understand. I don't want my child to get disheartened by what life throws at him or her. Those are the simple wishes of a dad. Those are the simple wishes that a dad wishes for you when you're young, because he wants you to grow up to be very strong. Strong-minded, strong-willed, strong emotionally, strong physically for boys. I don't know about girls. I'm not physically strong. But one thing I do know is that dad's love is also unconditional, just as a mother's. At the end of the day, a parent's love anyhow is unconditional, isn't it? I mean, we can't live without the two, right? Can we live with only one? We can't. And the perfect person to ask that question are orphans. they can't live. Do you know how much they long for a mother and father? See, they don't care if their parents are strict or anything, just as long as they have someone to be called mom and dad. Mom and dad, those simple words are even motivation for them. See, there are times where these orphans feel down a lot. I mean, they're always sad. They're wondering why aren't they getting chosen? Whenever will they get a new home? When will they ever get out of the orphanage and get a home of their own? So, two simple words only give them motivation to look forward to the next day. Those two words are mom and dad. They imagine what their parents would be like. What color would their mom's hair be? Will it be long? Will it be short? Would their dad be really tall, wearing a business suit? And they'll have all those vivid imaginations. So understand this. Motivation is like, as I said, the French word, je ne sais quoi. It changes every time. It's not constant. It's not only used in times of trouble. It's used even in times of happiness. Let's say when you achieve something, who are the first people you think about? Your parents. It was because you know that they are the ones who motivated you. They are the ones who brought you to that position in life where you are able to even look up to the sky and say you did it. But you didn't do it alone. You did it, but you didn't do it alone. So remember, motivation is like that. That French phrase, je ne sais quoi. Always remember that. Keep that in mind. It's actually easy. It's actually an easy one to remember. And remember that whether it be your mother, whether it be your father, or whether it be both, know that their love for you is a motivation itself. Knowing that you have parents who love you and who have given you the best, that's motivation enough. I mean, look at you where you are now. You're either sitting in a company or you're doing very well in your studies in one of the best universities that you wanted, that you chose. It's all because of what? Your parents. No one motivated them to raise you to where you are. They did it on their own. Same way, you must also understand and try to imitate that behavior. Because true, we say that living life alone is more beneficial. Well, I've seen both sides of the story. Having friends is good, having family is better. Family is much better. Because they'll always be there. There's always a home you can come back to with family. So always remember that motivation is not like a beam. It's not straight. It's always like that seesaw, going up, going down. It'll go up and down. It's never constant. It's not going to be like a beam. That's why I always use that French proverb, je ne sais quoi. So that's the end for today's video. That is more love and motivation. Parental love and motivation. So I will do another video tomorrow on motivation and love part 2. So that will be on romance. So I hope you guys will look forward to that. Wouldn't you all? And I will see you soon. Take care.